tell us today the differences between British and American English. Please welcome Karina, guys. Hi, Karina.
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
It's a huge pleasure for me to
Welcome.
be
Thank
with you
you.
here.
Hey, Ab.
Hi. Okay, so before I get to my presentation, I was hoping we could go around and introduce each other. I'm sure you guys know each other already, but I would like to get to know you a little bit more. Thank you, Igudim, for introducing me. So I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. But in case you have any other questions for me, feel free to ask. But for now, let's go around our virtual room and introduce ourselves. Just say your name, maybe where you're from, and something interesting about you. Okay, so I have Nilay first on my list. So Nilay, please go ahead.
Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Nilay. I'm from Turkey, Istanbul, but I live in Almaty at the moment, actually for 2 years. And yeah, I'm a team member of Language Mixer, and that's all from my side.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I have Igudim.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Igudim. So I also enjoy traveling like Karina. I used to study in England as well. And I think of myself as a creative person.
Great, nice to meet you too. Aliyah, you're next.
Hi, my name is Aliyah. I live in Almaty, and maybe an interesting fact that not many people know is that I graduated from a British high school in New Delhi in India.
Wow.
Yeah, very sophisticated way of learning English. But so excited to have Karina today explaining the differences because we're part of two worlds. So thank you, Karina, for the honor.
Thank you. And that's a cool experience, going to an English school in India. That's very fun. Okay, next I have AIX. Who's AIX?
Alex. I'm Alex. Hi,
Alex, okay.
Yeah, I'm Ukrainian. I've been living in Kazakhstan more than half a year. Well, I like jazz music. I like singing. I've been doing internet marketing here. Maybe that's all. That's enough.
Great, thank you. Nice to meet you. The next person on my list is Altonai.
Oh, hi there. My name is Altonai, so I'm local. I'm from Almaty, Kazakhstan. Very honored to be in this meeting today because it's my first time and very excited to get to know the language mixer and the affection that it will get to me. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Ainur is up next.
Hello, my name is Ainur. I'm from Almaty, and this is my second time in Language Mixer. And I'm an IT specialist. Certainly, I'm doing analytics with data. And I like learning English and read books. That's all.
Great. Nice to meet you. The next person is Daur.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Dauren. So like almost everyone like to listen to music and do the activities like snowboarding, cycling, and so on. I love to sports, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Darren. Aitor, could you please introduce yourself?
Hey, hello everyone. Sorry for being late. Well, today is the first time for me going back to the office, so it felt a bit sort of. I already got used to work at home, so going back to the office, waking up earlier was a bit difficult today, but hopefully I will manage. I'm very excited for today's lesson.
Thank you, Aitor. I think we're all excited to go back to work. I, for one, am tired of working from home. Okay, we have Marriott.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nilay. I from Kazakhstan. I stay in Almaty. I used to live in Astana. I also have been in London in some other part of England also. It was English courses, and the last time I've been in London, took some courses in economics in London School of Business and Finance. I speak Italian a bit. Also studying French because I studied at the university. My specialty was international economics. We had to choose two foreign language. First, of course, it was English, and the second I chose French. But after university, I changed to and I started to study Italian for myself. I don't know why, but it was a pleasure for me. And it's very easy to learn Italian for Russian-speaking people.
Great, thank you.
Vero.
And actually, I think Italian and French are quite easy to study together because the grammatical principles are very similar. But I think, yeah, Italian is a little bit easier for in terms of pronunciation than French. Great. The next person on my list is Mahoko, who has just joined. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yay, Mahoko.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Currently, I'm living in the United States. I live in Connecticut. And originally, I'm from Japan. And I was living in Kazakhstan 3 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm studying Russian and English right now.
Great, nice to meet you. You woke up early to make this meeting. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Dinara is up next. Dinara, can you hear me? If you can, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
No connection.
Okay, I guess we'll move on to the last person on the list, but not last in terms of importance. Z is the last person on my list, so please go ahead and introduce yourself, and we can come back to Dinara if she's willing to.
Okay, I'm Z or Zika. I'm from Almaty, Kazakhstan. I'm eternal student. I did my studies in South Korea, also in Almaty, and I'm about to be like a student again. I love languages, and it's my big inspiration, I think, in my life. And I love like Asian cultures and European cultures, and trying to make some mix out of it, and just enjoy the world. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a really great approach to life, being an eternal student. There's always something to learn. All right. I think that's everyone. In case I missed somebody, please don't hesitate to speak up. We still have Dinara, but if Dinara doesn't want to speak or is experiencing any trouble, I guess we can go ahead. Oh, wait, I think Dinara has just unmuted herself.
Hello, sorry.
Oh, hi.
Because
So there are two students.
Because of little baby, that's why I thought that maybe I will only listen, but my name is Dinara. I'm a private tutor of foreign languages. So I work as a teacher of Turkish, Russian and English. But I had trouble today with my eyes. That's why I thought that I shouldn't open video. I don't know what happened because of maybe I worked a lot. That's why. So nice to meet you. May I only listen, don't open camera.
Sure, if that's what's more convenient for you.
Thank
Welcome,
you
and
very
thank you for
much.
introducing yourself.
You look
I think we have one more person, another Dinara. Dinara
Yes.
Isabekova.
Hi everyone. I'm on my way to home and I just finished my running training, so sorry for this stuff. So I think I can join you with video and I can fully join you after 15-20 minutes when I came home. My name is
Great.
Dinara.
Nice to meet you, Dinara. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Two Dinaras, yes.
Okay, I think we've gone through the entire list. It was really nice to meet everyone. I'm so happy that you took the time to be here today. So I have prepared a presentation for you, which I think is quite simple. I will go over the basic differences between British and American English. And I don't really want to be just talking at you guys. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, please go ahead and ask. I will start the presentation in a minute. Then we will play a game of Kahoot. I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with it. If not, I can see that Nilay is familiar with it. Great. It's very easy and I think it's fun. And after that, I hope we can just chat about anything. We can talk about English or we can talk about life or anything you feel like talking about. Okay, so I will go ahead and start my presentation. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Here we go. So let's begin. How did the changes originate? So as many of you might know, the first colonists in the United States, and what is now known as the United States, were people from England. And the first colonists arrived in America from England in actually not late 17th century, but about early to mid 17th century. And legend has it that lexicographer Noah Webster, you might know him from the Webster Dictionary, has deliberately made spelling changes to highlight America's independence. So at the time of the settlement of America, the spelling of the English language was not yet finalized. So there were no like standard rules that regulated it. So after that, in England, the people who were compiling the dictionaries made their own rules, and then in America, they made them different to highlight sort of the cultural and linguistic independence. The key differences could be filed into three basic categories: specific words, spelling, and grammar. Actually, I would say that there are more differences than that, but it will take a lot of time and a lot of specifics. So today we're just going to talk about the three basic categories and see how they make the two versions of English different. So who can tell me what is happening here? What is the name of the game?
Soccer or football.
Great. Yeah, so in England, you would call that football, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, football. But in America, they call it soccer. And if you were to say football in America, this is what you would be referring to, which I think we can all agree doesn't make much sense. No feet are touching the ball, so, but who knows? What are these?
Rice.
Chips of rice.
Yay! Both are correct. So if you're in England, you will be calling these chips. And in the United States, those would be French fries or simply fries. And yeah, the famous British food, fish and chips. These are the kind of chips you'd be getting in England, and these are the chips in America, and I guess here as well. And finally, what would you call this?
Subway, underground. What is it? No.
Yeah. Any other options?
Metro.
Metro station.
Great. Actually, Alex was correct. So in England, you would call that underground or tube. Tube is very, very specific, very English, actually very much specific to London as well. And in America, yeah, you will be calling that subway. So these are just some of the very basic words that are different in British and American English. And here is another short list of words that are different. So just take a quick look. Some of these we've gone over, and the other ones new.
Do they say college when they mean university?
Yes. I mean, university is also very much acceptable in the US. They will understand what you mean. But when people talk to one another, they usually say, this is where I went to college, or this is my college. University is used a little bit less. And the contraction uni is very, very British. I haven't heard that in the US, but in England, people say, I go to uni. So yeah, the words in the left column are British and the words in the right column are American. University and college, speaking of those, it's very common in the US to say school. So even like when they say school, they don't always mean, you know, like the school that we would refer to, right? They would refer to university as a school. Okay, so moving on to the next part, which is spelling. So these are some of the most common spelling differences between British and American English. So on the left, again, you can see the British versions of the words, and on the right are the American versions. As you can see, the word program, for example, is spelled with 2 M's and an E at the end in England. And then words like analog, monologue, in England, you would spell them with the UE, and you would spell them without those in America. Another very common difference is the OU, so color versus color. They are pronounced the same, but are just spelled differently. The same goes for words like flavor, favorite, and so on. The next one is center. So again, in England, you would spell it C-E-N-T-R-E, and in America, you would spell C-E-N-T-E-R. Another very common difference is the ending of the verb, of some verbs. In England, it's the preferred spelling is I-S-E. So, you know, as you can see here, exercise, and other verbs that end in I's, you would spell with an S in England and with a Z in America. And finally, verbs like to dream, to burn, for example, you would spell them with a T in England, dreamt, burnt, and with an ED in America. Although I would say that it's still pretty common to use the ED ending in England as well. So you wouldn't be wrong to spell them that way. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, great. So moving on to grammar. There are also some grammatical differences between British English and American. They aren't very stark. They aren't very, I mean, these aren't two different languages. They are the same language, but with just different specificity. So some of the most common ones are these. So in British English, collective nouns can be singular or plural, but the latter is normally preferred. So here's an example. My favorite team are playing tonight versus my favorite team is playing tonight. So as you can see, the word team is singular, right? But since it is compiled of multiple people, in British English, it's sometimes preferred to say are. The same goes for the word police, for example, because again, the word police is singular by itself, but since it comprises, multiple people, and since it's an organization, it's very common to say the police are, for example, searching for someone. Does somebody have a question? Nope. Okay. The use of the verb shall is more common in British English. So when I was little and in school, when they were teaching us the future tense, they would say that for the first person of both singular and plural, you would use shall instead of will. However, that I think has since become a little obsolete, which means outdated. But I think they still say shall in British English a bit more often than they do in America. However, I think even in England, it's still a little more formal. There we go. And the final, I guess, key difference between the two is this combination of a verb plus the word around. So those are usually phrasal verbs, and the word around is more American than it is British. So for example, in British English, you would use the word about, mess around versus mess about. They are the same, but in America, you would say mess around, and in England, you would say mess about. And that works with other similar verbs as well. Okay, I think I have gone over the most common differences. So if anyone has any questions or comments, now would be a good time to say something.
I have a question.
Yes.
When I had been in America, I lived with in American family, so I told them that someone brought a newspaper, and this newspaper in the mailbox and the post box. This is differences, yes, between American and British English, because when I said them post box, they really laughed at me.
Yes, that's another good example, actually. So in America, people usually say mail. I received my mail. Whereas in England, people say I received post. So because of that, British people say postbox, and they also say postman. And in America, they say
really,
mailbox or mailman.
they laughed during when we were drinking a tea. They said, "What did you say? Could you repeat, please?" I said, "Post box," and they said, "No, this is not post box." And a lot of things, really, I understood that I should speak like American people.
That is such an interesting example, because I think this is not one of those words that is so different that people wouldn't understand. I mean, there are some other differences, like, for example, British people say dustbin, and Americans say trash bin. So you know where the trash goes.
But it's understandable, yeah. Like
yeah, and there's also the word garbage, which I would say is also more American. But when you think about it, there are lots and lots of differences within both British and American versions of English themselves. So in England, for example, if you travel around the country, you will hear some very different pronunciations. You will hear some very different accents, and some of the words vary as well. And in the United States, same thing. Some words, some concepts vary from state to state. Like, for example, um, so soft drinks, right? You know, soft drinks like Coca-Cola and whatnot. In America, in some places, they're called pop, P-O-P, and in other places, they're called fuzzy drinks or sodas. So this is also very, very regional, I would say. Um, okay, so again, I think I've gone over the most common differences, and I was thinking we could play a game. So you can see the game pin and start it in a bit. Oops.
It says
Oh,
the
that
wrong pin.
doesn't work. Yeah, wrong pin.
Okay, yes, I can see that. So the new pin is, oops, sorry. There we go. So that's the new pin.
Which one?
So the new pin is 982646. I'm going to post it in the chat. Sorry about that. Okay, layer one, ninja. That's cool.
Sorry, this is my first time to play this game. So do we have to go to the Kahoot website and enter the PIN number?
Yes, so you should navigate to kahoot.it
Mhm.
and it will ask you for a game pin, which is 982646.
Okay, thank you.
SpongeBob. Okay. So we have 10 players. Am I missing somebody? Yeah, okay, 12, and I think we're expecting one more person. Let's just wait for another moment and we will start. Okay, I think 12 people is as many as we're going to get now, so I'm going to go ahead and start the game. So this game is designed to test your knowledge of British and American words, and in some cases you will need to pick whether a word is British or American, or you would pick the word that is correct for either of those. So it's pretty straightforward, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, so, oh, we've lost somebody. Now we have 11 people.
Excuse me, Karina.
Yes.
Could you, so you'll then share screen here? Because right now we don't see the Kahoot
Yes.
website.
Okay, we have 12 people. I think we're good to go. Yep. So you would shop for sneakers where? In England or in the United States? Where do you think the word sneakers is used? Great. Sneakers is an American word, and in the UK, you would say trainers. So yes, if you want sneakers, you should go to the United States. Next question. Ninja is leading the way. Okay, let's see how we do with the next one. I'm renting a flat in England or the United States. So the word flat, where do you think you use that?
I think so.
Correct. Great job. Most of you got it right. So yes, flat is a very British word, and in the United States, you would use the word apartment. And while I think the word apartment would be also acceptable in England, the word flat I think is very, very British. I don't think I've heard anyone in America use that. So great job. Moving on to the next one. Ninja is still in the lead, living up to that name. Okay, next question. That bloke lives in England or the United States. So the word bloke is the one we're looking at. Great job. Have you guys heard that word before? Or are you just guessing?
I'm just guessing, actually.
I think a little
Guy
tip.
Ritchie's movies.
Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm saying there's heard these words in Guy Ritchie's movies.
Yeah, I mean, watching movies is an excellent way to learn a language. So you see, it's coming in handy. So yeah, the word bloke is very, very British. You don't really use that in the United States. And other very British words of the same nature would be chap or lad.
Mate?
Yeah, those again you use only in England. In America, you would say guy or dude. Dude is extremely American.
Yes.
Okay, if everyone's ready, we're moving on to the next question. And Ninja is still in the lead. Come on. Can somebody take them down? Let's see. Next question. So my trip to blank was awesome. So the word awesome is the one we're looking at here. Great job. Everyone got this one right. Yes,
Yeah.
in England, you would most likely say lovely or great or fantastic, but awesome is very American. Okay, Ninja's still ahead. We still have a few questions left, so one of you has a chance to take Ninja down. So these people who are getting married in a very responsible manner, as you can see, with the face masks and everything. So if they're getting married in America, what are they doing? Great. Yes, snogging, I think is a very, very weird word, but I included it here because it's kind of tricky and it's very British. I haven't heard it used anywhere else. Have you guys heard that word before?
Yes.
No, but it sounds really British.
It does, yeah. I think it.
Not doesn't mean to kiss. I think. Something like.
Could you say that again, please? I didn't hear you.
It doesn't mean to kiss, Snogging, even in British accent. No?
It does. It does. It's a bit of a slang word, I guess. There's actually a movie called Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. It's a teen British movie. So yeah, again, it was very British. So I was going to say that a little tip that I can give you is that British words often sound a little weird or funny, like the word snogging. I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of funny. So when you see a word that seems unusual, chances are it's British. Okay, we're moving on to the next question. Let's see how we're doing. Ninja's on fire, but we have some other people in the lead now. Okay, let's keep this interesting and see who will win the next. So whereabouts are you from? The word whereabouts is the one we're looking at here. Yay, well
You
done.
change places.
Yes, I decided to make it a little more difficult. So yes, I mean whereabouts, the word whereabouts exists in both versions of English, but I've only heard it being used in this way in England. So people would ask you, whereabouts are you from? Or like, whereabouts do you live? In the United States, they would just say, where are you from? Or where do you live? Okay, moving on. Ooh, now we have a new leader. Dune, well done. Great. Let's see if Ninja can take that crown back. Let's move on to the next question. So what is that part called in America? So the part of the car that is popped up. What do you think that's called in America?
Something.
Great,
guessed.
well done. Well, you're good at guessing. Yes, so in America they call that part a car hood, and in England they call it a bonnet. Do you guys know what a bonnet is? Like unrelated to the car? Does anyone know what a bonnet is?
Hat?
Yes,
No.
it is one of those old-fashioned hats. You know, you will see like old ladies wearing them. So yeah, this is interesting. A bonnet is a hat, and a hood, you know, is something you put over your head. So they both have something to do with the covering of the head. Okay, Dune is still in the lead, and SpongeBob is creeping up closer. Watch out, Dune. I am chuffed to be here. I, for one, am chuffed to be here with you guys. This is very fun. So, where do you think people get chuffed? In England or in the States? Correct. Most of you got it right. I think it is a very British word as well. Chuffed. I haven't heard it used in the States.
Buenos días, amigos.
Hello. Do we have a new person with us? Yes, we do. Hi, Dinara.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm happy to finally join the conversation because I've been late so many times.
Great. We're actually playing Kahoot right now, and we have 2 questions left, so feel free to join us. If you open the chat, you will see
Well, I'm at
a
work right now,
pin.
but
Oh,
I'm not actually working because that's how things are done.
it's almost 8 p.m. Come on, it's time to play. All right then. We'll keep going with Kahoot, and then we'll go back to the presentation for a bit and then we'll just start chatting. So we have 2 questions left.
Yeah, I will watch.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Next question. Okay, Dune is on fire. Highest answer streak of 8. Well done. Keep up the good work. But we have still 2 questions left, so maybe someone can climb up to the top. Okay, question number 9. I need to get my bangs trimmed. So if you see that pink circle, this is what bangs are. This is a part of your hair. So where do you think the word bangs is used? Great. Yes, bangs. It does sound like an American word, and it is. And in England, you would use the word fringe.
Mm.
Okay, Dune is still in the lead. And we have one last question. Is everyone ready? Here we go. I think this one should be very, very easy. It's also a cultural thing, I think. I love the blank in England. Well done. Most of you got it right. Yes, so in England, you use the word queue.
Yes.
And in the States, you use the word line. And like I said, I thought it was easy because I think it's such a cultural thing. I think everyone knows how much the British love queuing. And I think this is very true actually about British people. They're very good at queuing. They're very good at waiting in line, forming nice, neat lines, which is something we could use here. Okay, so that's it. Let's see. Ninja came in 3rd. SpongeBob took silver. And drumroll, Dune. Dune is number 1. Well done. Okay, so who's who?
Aliyah, you cheated.
How did she cheat? Come on. How is that possible?
I was tempted to not play, but then I ended up playing. I'm sorry.
It's fair game, fair game. Everyone was invited.
Is it Dorian?
Yeah, who's who?
I am Ninja.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm SpongeBob.
Oh, I'm so
Okay, Dune. Who's Dune?
Dune is Aliyah, I guess.
Oh, no, I thought Aliyah was... I thought I saw Aliyah with a...
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, okay, so okay, that's why they're saying you cheated. Okay,
That's why she cheated.
Oh.
I didn't cheat. I did not play.
Because I thought I saw Aliyah there for a moment.
We don't believe you.
But great job. Okay. And I think that was actually it from the lecture part from me. So thank you very much for listening. And now I would really love to answer any questions you may have. And like I said at the beginning, I hope that we can just dedicate the remaining time to talking and we can talk about anything you like. Thanks again.
Igudim,
I think you're talking, but I think you're muted.
Igudim, we cannot hear you.
Do you want to type your question in the chat? So guys, well, Igudim is our host, and so maybe she's trying to moderate questions for all of you. I can help her in the meantime. Karina is a wonderful expert in the differences because she has wide exposure to both American and British culture through, as you know, her studies and also through her work. So I would highly encourage you to ask her questions. For a long time, I think at Language Mixer, for the 5 years we've been around, we were trying to figure out the difference between the two cultures. And I think Karina did a wonderful job today helping us navigate through that. And what a fun game it was. Oh, okay, sure. Let us, first, before we all start that, I'll record the thank you then. Those of you who are not new, you know the drill. Those of you who are new, so if I get him, you're still not able to talk, right? Okay, so if we can ask you for a brief moment to open your cameras, guys, and let's jointly say thank you to Karina before we move on to the Q&A. So we're missing Alex, Bota, Dorian. You guys are the only ones who we cannot see right now. It's exciting to see everyone. Yay, Dorian. Let's wait for Bota and Alex to make sure. Thank you, Alex. I don't think Bota was supposed to. Okay, I'm gonna ask to start a video. And ask to unmute. Okay, yeah, no problem, Igudim. Okay, well, Bota, hopefully you hear us. Okay. I'm gonna say today we had English with Karina, and we wanna say to her, and then you'll say, depending, if you enjoyed it a lot, then you will say thank you very much. If you enjoyed it, you know, it was so-so, you'll just say thank you. Let's see. Karina, don't worry. Let's see what you guys will have to say. So if you're ready, let me set my camera here. Okay, so today we had English with Karina, and we want to say to her,
thank you so much.
Amazing. And while you're still there, I'd like to take a photo. Just a second. Oh, Dorian, don't disappear.
Dorian, come back.
Yo,
okay. Smile, guys, if you want to wave, whatever you want to do. Yay. Oh, Alex, he disappeared. Oh, the gentleman. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I got it, several. Thank you so much. And thank you once again, Karina. You seem a lot of excited thank yous. So it was really, really a joyful event. And I think—
Thank you. I'm very grateful to everyone who came here tonight. Thank you for taking your time.
This is a pretty full house, I must admit. So maybe Mahoka will have a question. She always does.
Way to throw her under the bus.
Karina, if you know some specific word for groundkeeper or handyman, do you have any specific word in England? Because in New York City, people call super, for example, today my fridge was broken, so I have to call super. And at first I had no idea what they are talking about. And it actually means a handyman. So I'm wondering if there is a specific word in England.
Thank you for that question. I actually thought that the word super was used to refer to like the superintendent, I think, which doesn't necessarily mean handyman. I think it's the person who's like in charge of the building, like the building manager. But I think the word handyman is acceptable. I also think you would say you would just use the specific word for the kind of person that you need. So you would say, like, if your sink is broken, you would say, I need a plumber. Or, you know, if the lights went out, you would say, oh, I need to call the electrician. So I think super is the person who's like in charge of the building. So you would just go through them to have them invite whoever you need. But the words handyman and groundskeeper are both acceptable. Although I would say the groundskeeper refers more to like a gardener type of person. So if you have like a yard or something, that's where you would have a groundskeeper.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a really good question.
Karina, I've got a question. I watched, first of all, thank you for the lesson. And well, this year I watched a British TV show called IT Crowd. And they usually always say, you know, bloody, brilliant, and other stuff. But I'm not sure if do British people actually say it right now. Maybe it was popular maybe a few years ago, but not now.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for that reference. I think I've watched a few episodes of that show. I didn't enjoy it as much, but I think it's actually pretty cult for some people. So I think that's a great reference. And the word bloody is actually super popular. I decided not to use it because it's kind of a slang word. It's not a swear word, so it's not bad. But again, it's not exactly the nicest word either. But people use it a lot. So it's still very popular. And I actually think today I was looking things up and I found this little article about how that word came about, how people started using it that way. And the example that I saw actually had with people being drunk. And the example said that the word bloody originated from the word blood or bloods, meaning the aristocracy. So people would refer to the aristocracy as bloods or the bloods. And if someone was bloody drunk, that meant they were drunk as a blood, so as an aristocrat. I guess they drank a lot in those days, I don't know. But that's the example that I saw. So I thought it was pretty interesting because I actually had no idea why they were using that word. But yeah, it doesn't literally mean bloody. It just means very. It's a word that you use to exaggerate something. And the word brilliant, yes, it's also very common and people often say it together, bloody brilliant.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have a question?
Can I ask something? Yeah.
Please,
Thank you for the lesson. Yeah, and I'm want to ask about, are the British black people refer to themselves for N-word? I mean, like, do they call like American black people each other N-word or not? Because I don't remember I heard it.
Oh, that's a tough question. It's tough because I don't think it's appropriate to discuss, really. I'm sorry.
Though we are being recorded.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I will weasel out of this one.
Okay.
So then when we're off the record, maybe Karina can answer it.
I'm sorry.
No, thank you. It's Dorian likes challenging us.
No, it was with all respect to black people. I'm not going to offend someone. I just wonder about it. Yeah.
I'm sure you meant no offense, but I'd just rather not talk about it publicly.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
But
I
thank
just
you
listened
for
to the rap
a
music
very
and
unusual
I
question.
never heard.
I got a question.
Yay.
Karina, do you prefer like American version of literature or British version? Because I've heard there are differences. I've heard that American version is a little bit they're simplifying or do it somehow different. I don't know. I just heard.
That's a really good question too. Um, I mean, these days I mostly use American English in my day-to-day life. So this is the one I use the most. So I can say I have like a specific preference, but I would agree with you that American English is sometimes um, considered a little more simplified. I think one of the things that is characteristic of American English is that people really like to use contractions. The first one that comes to mind is the word crossing. Like maybe in some movies or cartoons, you guys have seen like a sign, a road sign near a school or something, and it would have the word, if it would say XING, so which means crossing, but they just abbreviated the cross as an X. So for some reason, that's the one I think about. I find it so unusual. I don't know why. Um, but otherwise, I wouldn't say that the difference, especially in writing or in literature, is very profound. I think it's mostly when you speak, and in things like spelling and whatnot. Um, I think some people would say that British English is a little more formal than American, but that also depends on, who's talking and what the circumstances are. Both are great.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
I actually had a question for you guys, which I should have maybe asked in the beginning, but I was just wondering why did you guys want to know the difference between British and American English, just out of curiosity?
I can try to answer. I think, it sounds, sometimes you feel like you're in two completely different worlds when you're, there's like pants or trousers, or besides the spelling, there's so much more difference between, biscuit and cookies and all these little things that are very, very important. I mean, you can't live without a cookie or a biscuit. But it's, I guess, the exposure to both languages that everyone here has in Kazakhstan. We learn classical British English in high school, and then through Hollywood and movies, we are much more exposed to American culture. And this is where, we're like, wait a minute, we're watching Friends and we're watching subtitles, and you use a different spelling, and you're like, program is not spelled with double M and E. And knowing the difference, you can actually be more aware and be, grammatically correct in both languages. And I think we all grow up in a more or less, all of us except Nilay. But Nilay is also a triple language. She's trilingual. And Mahoko as well. But we learn to respect languages we're learning, whether that's Kazakh or Russian or English. And that's, I think, why we want to make sure that we know those differences. Maybe I've answered for everyone, maybe not. So anybody can jump in and add if you have anything to add. But great question. Thank you, Karina.
Yeah, no, that was a great explanation, because when he asked me to speak on this subject, I was like, okay, I can do that. But I was just wondering, why people want to know the difference, because at the end of the day, sometimes I feel like the differences are not that major, at least to me, maybe because I'm used to both. So I just kind of navigate that space in my mind. So they don't strike me so much. Like, for example, the example that Dinara brought up about Postbox and mailbox. to Americans she lived with, that was something ridiculous, right? They were so surprised by that word. Whereas for us, I think it's just, okay, well, what's the difference? You know, postbox, mailbox, whatever. We know what you're talking about. Um, so I was just really curious to hear why you guys wanted to know the difference. And I mean, if you go to either the UK or the United States for some time, and if you stay there for a while, you start to absorb all of those differences, all of those words. You just get used to them when you see them all around you every day, and when you talk to people and you hear them every day. You just get used to those, and you don't have to consciously think about them. And I would say that in most cases, people will understand you regardless. I mean, if you say, um, trousers in America, I think people will just think that you're very fancy. Fancy is actually also a very, no, fancy is American, whereas posh is a very British word. So people in America would think that you're fancy for using the word trousers, and well, you wouldn't be so posh in England for using that word.
Can I say?
Please go ahead.
For me, the most obvious reason to know this, to avoid confusing situation, especially concerning a root word in one, for example, in America, and just normal word in Great Britain. For example, sorry guys in advance, but can't and can't. I've got some confusing situation, before American, because it was like some British pronunciation, and it's one of my acquainted person used to say it, and one of American guy was laughing a lot, and we just figured out after that what was happening in that moment. Or for example, eraser and rubber, it's softer. Yeah, in America it's something. So it's pretty useful in this case. Maybe it's not so polite topic, yeah, in frame of this topic, but it can be, and if you feel yourself embarrassed, it's not good, especially if you have some public speaking. Just in frame of some friendly, in frame of some uh, mm, speaking with friends, but just public, and you puzzle something. It's not good. I don't like such situation. That's why. That's why I'm trying to get differences.
That's a really good reason. Can't argue. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? Like I said, we can talk about anything, not just English, anything at all.
Can I ask you a question? So, do you have any specific book that you recommend to learn English or just for fun?
Do I have a specific what? Sorry, I didn't hear the word.
Book.
Oh, that's a really good question. You mean like to learn English or just, like fiction, nonfiction, just,
I personally prefer fiction, but it can be anything.
Okay, so one of the books that I've read recently, it's called Pachinko, by I think she's a Korean American. It's a great book. I loved it so much. It's very, very interesting. So it tells a story of a Korean family. It's like a family saga, which is personally one of my favorite genres. I will type the name in the chat so that everyone can see.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so it follows the story of a Korean family, first in Korea and then in Japan, throughout, I want to say, most of the 20th century. And I thought it was very, very good. It's very well written. It's not overly complicated, I would say. And just the story is very, very interesting. So that was the one that stood out to me recently. I also like the books of F. Scott Fitzgerald, the author of The Great Gatsby, Tender is the Night, The Beautiful and the Damned. I really like his writing. The word that comes to mind is sweet. I don't know why, but I just think that the way he writes, his language is very sweet.
Okay.
Okay,
I
let me
agree.
tell
He's
you the
such
name of the
a
book.
very genius writer. Yeah. His sentences are just beautiful. For me, it was a little bit harder to understand the whole concept, but it was great book.
Yeah, but I think, the more you read, the better you get at it, and the more you start to
Yeah, yeah,
understand and appreciate. And
Mhm.
I think his language, his writing style strikes the perfect balance between simple and ornate, or beautiful, I guess. So it's simple, but it's still very, very beautiful. Okay, I'm typing the name of the book in the chat. So if anyone has any other questions, please go ahead.
Karina, thank you very much for your presentation for this game. I found out that use American English and British English, and even don't mention about. I think it's interesting to know and to know the differences because to find out where the person from, if he's British or American. I remember we had one evening event that he's British and he worked in the international organization, and he said that some business terms he repeated it twice, and he said, "This is in British and this is American." I didn't, anyway, I couldn't find the difference. For me, it was sound the same, though he tried to repeat it several times. I said, "Okay, that's funny." And it was mentioned that you used to live in Switzerland. So what about this country and the way they speak in English? It's more to like British people speak grammar or some words, special terms, or it's more American?
That is a really good question. So I lived in Switzerland for 3 years.
I'm sorry, I
and-
have a bad connection.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, no.
Okay. So I lived in the Italian part of Switzerland. And I actually don't remember communicating with people as much in English there. I started learning Italian very soon after I moved there. So I started to use Italian more. That's a really good question. So the school I went to in Switzerland was actually American, so I learned American English there. But that was my experience. I think it depends on the school that people go to.
Thank you.
I have a question while everyone else is thinking. Karina, where did you pick up your accent? It is so beautiful. I actually, Kamshat and me love, we are the fans of your accent. Karina is my colleague, actually. Big secret, but we've never met in person because we're in 2 different cities. But do you think you made an effort? Because I think a lot of people always wonder how to improve their accents, and I've heard that some people are managing to do that. Please don't say it was natural, which I know you will. But give some hope to all of us mortals.
Oh, come on. So I think in high school, when I lived and studied in Switzerland, I had a more American accent. Then I moved to London for university, where I picked up a very, very British accent. Then I came back to Kazakhstan, and I went on to get my master's degree. And the the version of English that we used at my university was more American. And yeah, like you said, I work with Americans, so I think my British accent has since disappeared. And it's this, I think it's in between the two. Like when I meet Americans, sometimes they get a little confused and they say, "Oh, are you British?" Well, actually, a lot of them think I'm American, but then they say, "Oh, your accent is a little bit British." So anyway, I think a lot of it is definitely natural. I'm sorry, but there are definitely ways to improve your pronunciation, and it's simply by listening to people and listening to movies and TV shows. And that's how you pick up an accent or develop your pronunciation. It's quite simple, actually. At least I think the case with me is that I think I have a good ear for languages, if I may say so. So I just sort of listen to the way people speak, and I automatically adapt the way I speak as well. But it all comes with practice. So the more you listen, the better you get at it, really. So if you want to have a British accent, just watch Sherlock or Harry Potter. Although Harry Potter, I think the characters in Harry Potter have crazy accents. I have such a hard time understanding them. I think I was actually talking about it with my American friends at some point, and we all agreed that they have some pretty interesting accents there. And I don't know for sure, but I think they were trying to get they were trying to be accurate in their portrayal of people, like where they come from. So if someone is from Northern England, they have very specific accents. So they try to convey that in the movie. So I guess people from Northern England would be like, oh yes, he's from Northern England, just like me, because he speaks that way. So yeah. And if you want to pick up an American accent, there's so many options as well. So just listen and try talking to people, and you will get there. Oh, and thank you for the comment on my background. It is a picture, it's not a real thing. But I like it too. I found it on I think like a stock website on splash.com or something. And I think it's actually in the UK somewhere, in Scotland, actually, some hotel. Very pretty. I wish I had a room like that in Morocco. Thank you.
Oh, it's visualization, right?
Yeah, manifestation.
Thank you, Karina. That was such a detailed answer, and I think it's a very helpful tip and hint for everyone who wants to improve their accent or pick a British accent. Posh.
A posh British accent.
I think Alex had a question. Maybe I'm wrong.
Me? No.
Yeah. You
in
looked,
this,
you had a question mark.
Yeah, just like exception, in this case, you're wrong.
Oh,
Just only one case, but.
Okay.
Your questions are funny.
I get it. You can talk now. Finally, yay.
Oh, really? You can hear me? Wow. Okay. I'm meeting to communicate with you. Great. Thank you much.
Oops, we cannot hear you again.
Oh, and practical.
No, we can hear. We can hear again. I think you shouldn't move.
Okay. Oh, I shouldn't move.
Just sit still like this. Yeah, you were breaking up for a bit.
Oh no.
Oh, come on.
It's like because you're holding your microphone, is something wrong with it.
Sorry. Do you have a question or comment, Igudim? I'm so sorry we cannot hear your voice today.
That's fine.
And then we randomly hear.
No, we can hear.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to say, okay, thank you, Karina, and that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, I know we don't want to let Karina go, but it's getting late. So we usually now finish at 8:15 so that we wouldn't have Zoom fatigue. But we want to thank you everyone who joined today. It's actually quite a full house, and everybody stayed until the end, which is something that I have to attest to Karina, and this is totally thank you so much, Karina. You held our attention all this while, and we even don't want to let you go even if you don't have questions. But
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes,
hope you can come back anytime. We're always going to be happy. We can find another tricky topic for you if we'd be honored to have you back. And all the best in Nur Sultan. Hope things are going well there. And we actually have 3 or 4 city groups right now. Connected.
I'm actually in Almaty. Right now, I'm in Almaty. I do live in Nur Sultan, that's true, but this week I'm in Almaty. So hello, we're in the same city.
Stay here.
With most of you.
Then let's meet. Let's go outside.
Let's do that, yeah.
Let's
do the
do
masks and everything in a responsible manner.
Yeah. By the way, Alex, can I say?
Yes. I was willing to suggest this great idea. Come on.
Karina, how long are you here? I'm sorry, Zika and Mahoko. We want you to be here
Sunday.
But we so the other time we discussed the fact that I wanted to learn how to dance swing, and apparently Alex knows how to dance something else. Anyway, so that discussion led to the fact that we can actually look for a place where there's live jazz playing. I'm not sure, but we can still look. Or we can just put it on our, I have this. We can put it on. Anyway, get together. Oh, sorry, it's the speaker.
Okay.
So we can get together in a allowed quantity. We haven't discussed it with our team yet, but we can try to organize something if you guys are willing, because we want to meet you all, to see you all, but we also want to be careful. I mean, we definitely are not going to go to Starbucks to our typical meetings, but we can meet socially. And while Karina is here, we'll use that as an excuse to meet up. So Karina, if you guys are not on our WhatsApp chats, please make sure you write one of us in Instagram or wherever, and we're going to add you there, and we're going to discuss with Karina her availability and try to meet up then, even if just to have a chat and a drink. And if we'll find a jazz gig, we will definitely try to arrange that, but I doubt there's something. Anyway, who's in?
I would love to meet you guys. I'd be really happy. I mean, I didn't want to suggest anything because we're still sort of in quarantine. I mean, it's lifted officially, but still, we're remaining vigilant and cautious. So
yeah, we will do the fist bump. We'll keep the distance, and but just to feel, oh, Dinara is also in. And at some point, I suggest we can do, like a Zoom call with Zika and Mahoko.
Yes, great.
Yeah, we'll just ring them up. That would be great.
Our regulars, yay. Okay, sounds good. Then we'll be in touch. Please make sure you are on our WhatsApp chats if you guys have WhatsApp. If not, then just, right. So yay. On that positive note, I think we can, I don't know if Igudim is still able to close the meeting, but in case we don't hear her, I can close the meeting on Igudim's behalf. She was our host today, so thank you so much, Igudim, and Nilay, thank you for the technical support. And once again, Karina, let's let's off the record say thank you to her. It was just amazing. We really, really enjoyed it, right? Everybody's doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, it was really nice to meet you virtually, and I hope I can meet at least some of you in person this week. And like I said already, I really appreciate you all finding the time to be here tonight. I was a little nervous. This is actually my first experience teaching. So I'm glad that it happened with such a kind, such a friendly and smart audience like you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye
Bye
bye.
everyone.
Thank you
Have
so
a good
much.
evening.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye bye.